Tool Lots. Reliable equipment. Fast.
Hi, my name is Kyle LaRue and I'm with Tool Lots, and today we're going to be talking about the KRC20 chocolate conch refiner. This machine is used to combine chocolate and pulverized sugar. It mixes the two materials and then heats it, so it's prepared to transfer into a chocolate molding machine. So some specs on this specific machine: it contains a 1.5 kilowatt motor. It's a 5-gallon storage tank. There's a 0.6 kilowatt heating element. The agitator motor is 93 RPM. It's a 440 volt base system. It's a manually adjusted tension. And so let's go over some of the basic components of the machine. So here we have the manual tension adjustment handle. We have the tension gearbox, the 1.5 kilowatt motor. We have 2 inlets for material. We have a water return line for the outer sheet water circulation system. We have 2 inlet pipes and 1 outlet pipe. We have the electrical breaker box. We have the mass temperature, the water temperature, the amperage gauge. We have a power motor and water heating LED. And we have the on and off switch, as well as the on and off for the heating element. This is on and off for the motor, on and off for the water temperature. So now that we've gone over all of the elements of the machine, let's talk about the necessary tools required for this installation. So you're going to need an 8mm socket, a digital multimeter, flashlight just in case, a water line, a Phillips screwdriver, and a crescent wrench. And one accessory that you're going to need to pick up is a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch nipple and a 3/4 to 1/2 inch adapter. So once you have all of your components in place, let's begin the installation. So once you have all of your tools gathered, let's go ahead and begin the install. So we're going to grab our Phillips and our socket wrench, and we're going to remove the first panel. So the panel is removed by 4 Phillips screws, which I have already loosened. So once you have them loosened on your end, you can go ahead and slide the panel up, pull it off, and have something prepared to place the panel on so you don't scratch it or mess it up. So I'm going to place it on this styrofoam foam here. Place that out of the way. Next, you're going to take your socket wrench and you're going to loosen up these 4 hex head bolts. And there's 2 per side. So again, these are already loosened. So I'll go ahead and remove these. And we're removing this back plate so that we can access all of the electronics and supply power to the machine. All right, now that we have these 2 off, let's go to the other side and do the same thing. So again, we're going to remove our 4 Phillips screws, or actually you don't need to remove them, but just loosen it enough to lift the panel off with your Phillips screwdriver. So once they are loose, we'll lift off the panel. And again, set it over on a nice safe styrofoam block. And then you'll take your 8mm socket, loosen up your 2 bolts on this side, which I've already done. So I'll show you a trick that I did when removing this panel that made it easy to work with. What you're going to do is, once you remove this bottom bolt and the top bolt, you're going to pull this panel down and then insert the bolt back in on this side and that side so the panel will stay in place. So that way it's easier and doesn't move around when you're connecting the electrical components. So be careful when you're removing this panel not to let it fall or yank on any wires, because you could pull something out of place. So there's that trick there. Insert that nut here, and I'm going to quickly go do that on the other side. Okay, so now that we have our two panels removed, let's go ahead and do our power installation. So you're going to want to grab your main power line, and again, this is a 440 system. Obviously you want to make sure that your power is turned off at your main panel so you don't potentially hurt yourself. So this is a three-phase system and it requires a neutral line in order for the machine to operate. So let's go ahead and hook this up. So we're going to run this down underneath our frame, and there's an inlet port on the bottom side of your electrical box that you want to run it through. And let's feed enough of that in there so that we can access our wires. Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, and I have a wiring schematic here. So since this is a three-phase system, you have to ensure that the phases are correct. So if you install the power and turn the machine on and the machine seizes or creates a violent jerking motion, you need to immediately turn the machine off, cut the power to the machine, turn off your main breaker, come back, and you can swap any of the two main power lines, and this will change the rotation of the motor inside. So let's go ahead and connect these to our power connection slot here. So my orientation is going to go black, light gray, blue, and then dark gray is our neutral. Okay, make sure we have no wires touching. It looks like we're good. So now we can go ahead and close up our box. So we're going to need to remove our two screws. Let's remove the one on the other side first. Make sure to support this so it does not fall while you're removing the other screw. Okay, let's grab our other two on the other side. All right, let's place our covers back on so they don't get knocked over or damaged. Okay, now that we have our power installed and our panels put back on, let's go ahead and do our water installation. So you're going to need your water line, and in this case we don't have an external water tank, so we're going to be using a direct water line in our warehouse. So we're going to hook up using a 5/8 inch hose line. So we'll go ahead and connect this to the hose. Our water line here. Once that's good and tight, let's go over and connect the other end to the machine. So to install your water line, you're going to need your 1/2 inch nipple and 3/4 inch to the 1/2 inch adapter, because this machine is equipped with 1/2 inch ball valves. So we can go ahead, connect one end to our water line, and then connect the other end to our water inlet line. Okay, should be good and tight. Be sure you can tighten this down a little bit more, but if you're gonna crank on it, be careful not to put too much strain on this water line. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn our water on, and this water is going to supply the outer shell of this machine. So it's going to circulate the outer circumference of the conch. And this is the return line for the system. So we'll go ahead, we're going to grab a bucket, we're going to turn our water on, open this valve, place our bucket underneath it, And then we're going to let the water out, and we're going to let it flow for maybe a minute or so just to ensure that we have proper filling inside. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's place our bucket underneath our water outlet. We can go ahead and open that up slowly. You can see a little water is coming out from the previous run. We'll open up our inlet ball valve, and I'm going to go run and turn the water on real quick. Actually, let's close this. I'll run and turn the water on and be right back. All right, so we have water circulation. You can actually hear it circulating inside the conch itself. There we go. And you just want to let this run for about a minute just to ensure we have proper filling. So now we have our water installed, we have our power installed. We always got to make sure that water is flowing before we turn the machine on, or else you could damage the heaters. And again, please be sure to check your power source with a multimeter and ensure that it is in fact 440. So now that we have the machine powered and water supplied, we can go ahead and turn the machine on. So once you have verified your voltage, you need to then turn on your breaker and main power supply, and then we can go ahead and flip our breaker on the machine. And you can see we have the mass temperature and water temperature display. We're receiving power. So that's about it for this installation. So please tune in for the next video on a maintenance. So again, I'm Kyle Leroux with Tool Lots, and thanks for watching.